Well, I have a wonderful electronic invention I want you to see.
This is James Mathers at NAB 2019 for the Digital Cinema Society and Studio Daily. I'm here at the Canon booth, and my friend Tim Smith's going to tell us, give us the latest update on the C700 FF, right?
The full frame camera, yeah. This came into the world a little bit late last year, so it's not, although it's already out, it's not brand new here. It's sort of the first time a lot of people are seeing it. It is our full frame sensor. It's a 5.9K sensor capable of shooting a 5.9K raw image. You also have a Super 35 crop and a Super 16 crop, and it does a spectacular anamorphic. So when you go into the anamorphic mode on this, your 5.9 after the crop ends up being a full 4K anamorphic, which is pretty important for things like Netflix. You can deliver a 4K anamorphic signal with this one. So it's actually been out on a couple of projects already. Usually when we show these things, they're brand new, but this has had a couple of features already and a couple of television series already. It's doing really well. It's a really nice camera. It's very easy to use. It's lightweight, about 7 pounds altogether. Does really great frame rates. There are 3 flavors of the 700, which I think can confuse people, but we have the original 700, which was the Super 35. There is also a Super 35 version with a global shutter called the C700 GS, and then there's the full frame version, the FF, that all look identical until you turn them on.
And how about the lens mounts available?
Lens mounts are EF or PL, and they can be swapped. So you can buy it either way, or you can have them transferred at our service center in Burbank. We can change the mounts if you have to, EF or PL.
And now you have the full frame lenses.
We do, but there's also a B4 adapter, just so we know. That's what the Super 16 crop is for. So we have an adapter for B4. And we now have PL lenses. So we've had PLs in Super 35 in our zooms, and we had EF full frames in our primes. We now have the Sumi Rays, which you've already talked about, but the Sumi Rays are full frame primes. So those will work in full frame. They'll work in Super 35. It might be a little odd in Super 16, but they'll work. You can turn it on. So yeah, it covers all those sensors, all those sensor sizes.
So a full family.
Yeah, you know what? There are 3 cameras, but ultimately, if you go to this one, it pretty much does all the functions of the other 2. It's sort of the most versatile of the 3. If you step up to the full frame version, you do get the 5.9. You get slows down your shutter rates. You can get higher frame rates out of the Super 35 version. Otherwise, the feature set is pretty much the same. So if you can live without getting up to 120 frames a second or 100 frames in RAW, and you can live at 60, then you could go with the full frame version and get all of that. But the Super 35 version will still exist, especially for high frame rates.
Well, it seems like things are going bigger and bigger, so you might future-proof by getting into a larger sensor.
Yeah, honestly, I think everything at some point will all be large sensor. And, it sounds like a new concept, but we introduced the 5D Mark II. We've been full-frame sensors for a long time. But yeah, the world caught up. And I think, honestly, if I was in the business for cameras, I'd always be looking at full frame because you've got all those options. And you can always make a sensor smaller electronically by cropping in, which isn't all that negative, to be honest, in terms of the effect. And still have the advantages of full frame. So, yep.
Makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Tim.
My pleasure. See you next year.